The sky was screaming. Metal pods tore through the clouds like fireballs, smashing into the alien jungle below. One by one, they exploded open, throwing out cadets in panic, scaly, furred, armored, or tentacled. Some hit the ground running. Others hit the ground screaming. Cadet 49, the only human, landed last. No armor, no upgrades. Just a backpack and old-fashioned boots. He didn't scream. He stood up, scanned the thick, glowing forest, and disappeared into the trees without a word. "Come check. Where is the team lead? I lost my gear. The trees, they move." Something shrieked in the distance, long, high-pitched, and not from this world. Thorns the size of spears tore through one cadet's leg. Another stepped on a mossy patch that turned out to be a sleeping predator. The jungle responded like it was alive and angry. Above them, a hidden drone recorded everything for the Galactic Command. This was supposed to be a survival drill. But something was wrong. The terrain was more dangerous than expected. And the instructors weren't answering. Cadets began splitting into species groups, shouting in different languages. Some glowed with panic. Others tried to climb trees, only to be dragged down by something unseen. Meanwhile, the human was already gone, vanished into the canopy. Like a ghost. No one saw what he was building. No one noticed the vines he had already cut, the stones he had stacked, the branches sharpened to points. While alien cadets screamed and stumbled, the human worked in silence, fast, focused, and terrifyingly calm. The jungle didn't scare him. He'd grown up on a death world. By the second hour, the survival test had turned into a nightmare. Cadets were scattered, some already injured, some missing. The jungle didn't just test them, it hunted them. There were 50 cadets in total. 12 different species. The insectoid cliques moved in packs, clicking warnings with their mandibles. The six-eyed score tried using thermal vision, but the forest heat blinded them. The four-armed Draxians climbed trees until the trees fought back, coiling around their limbs like snakes. Every species had a weakness here, except one, the human. Callan, Cadet 49, had no backup, no built-in sensors, no genetic upgrades. He had muscle, instinct, and experience from a childhood spent dodging acid rain and hunting wild dogs for food. While others argued over where to set up camp, he was already 30 feet above the ground, anchoring a platform into the branches with vines and sharp wood stakes. Down below, chaos spread. The amphibian auros needed constant moisture, but the air was dry. One fainted. The Ursic massive bear-like aliens needed raw meat, but couldn't catch anything in this forest. Their growls turned into cries. Cadets began to panic. Some whispered about monsters stalking them. Others stared at the treetops, wondering where the human went. A clique commander tried to take charge. "We must form a base. Combine resources." Too late, hissed a reptilian cadet. "We're already being hunted." Suddenly, a plasma flare exploded nearby. Screams echoed. Something huge and fast rushed through the trees. Branches snapped. Blood hit the leaves. The cliques ran. The score vanished. Up in the trees, Callan didn't flinch. He saw the movement. He heard the screams. But he stayed focused. His hands kept working. He knew the jungle, knew its rhythm. And he knew the others were already too soft to survive it. By nightfall, the jungle began choosing its victims. The score couldn't see. Their thermal vision was useless against the forest's heat waves. They fired blindly at shadows, wasting precious ammo. One screamed when something snatched his weapon and vanished into the leaves. The cliques tried building a camp, but their chittering calls drew predators. Within minutes, 2 were gone. No body, no noise, just silence. A reptilian cadet fell to his knees, panting. "We were trained for desert combat, not this," he gasped. His scales were too dry. His tongue hung loose. The forest was alive. And it hated them all. Only the human adapted. Callan's tree fortress was halfway built. He had a roof of palm-like leaves, traps surrounding the base, and a bucket system made from alien fruit shells to collect water. He worked nonstop, breathing steady, muscles moving like he'd done this 100 times before. He had Dot as a kid. He'd once built a shelter in a lightning storm using only scrap metal and bones. Down below, alien cadets were breaking. A glowing, jelly-based species, the Velari, began to melt under the heat. Another species with sonar-based hearing screamed when forest insects overloaded their senses. A fight broke out over food rations. Plasma rifles were drawn. A loud crash silenced everyone. An Ursa cadet had fallen into one of Callan's traps. A pit lined with sharpened sticks. Not fatal, but painful. The others looked up toward the trees in shock. Who set that? They didn't know yet, but whispers were starting. There's a human here, right? Where is he? No one had seen him since the drop. Only the jungle had. And the jungle, for once, hadn't touched him. The first real scream came. Just after midnight. It was sharp, wet. It didn't sound like language. It sounded like fear. Then came the second scream. Closer, louder. It was followed by crunching bones and something dragging. Across the dirt, the jungle fell silent. Cadets stopped talking. Breathing slowed. One score held his plasma rifle tight, shaking. Another whispered, "Did you hear that? It took Gromar." "No," said a Draxian. "It hunted Gromar." Something massive was moving between the trees, fast, heavy, and smart. Branches cracked, vines snapped. And wherever it went, nothing came back. The training drones weren't responding. The instructors weren't answering. The comms were dead. This wasn't a drill anymore. Panic spread like fire. Some cadets ran. Some froze. A few tried to climb trees, hoping to get above the danger. That's when they saw it. A glow. High up in the canopy, a structure. Lights made from glowing fruit. Wood walls tied tight with vines. Smoke rising gently through a controlled gap in the roof. Someone had built a fortress. The human, Callan watched from above, crouched behind sharpened stakes. His face was dirt-smeared, eyes calm, body still. In his hands he held a spear carved from alien bone. He didn't blink as the forest monster moved below. He was waiting. Calculating. It walked right past his traps. Too smart, but not smarter than him. He silently adjusted a tension wire. Above, a log swung down, barely missing the beast but drawing its attention. It snarled and charged. Straight into the next trap. Snap. A spiked branch slammed into its side. Not a kill, but a warning. Callan sat back, breathing slow. The others screamed. He just listened, and the jungle, for the first time, seemed to respect the one thing it didn't understand. The human. By morning, the fortress looked like something from a war zone. 30 feet above the jungle floor, it stood between thick branches, hidden by leaves and shadows. Reinforced walls, rope bridges, bone spikes, a watchpost. Smoke from a small fire curled upward, perfectly vented. The place was alive but silent. Alien cadets stumbled upon it by accident. Their eyes widened. Some fell to their knees. One broke down crying. This wasn't here yesterday. He built this in one night?" Another whispered. The answer was yes. Callan had worked through the screams, through the fear, through the dark. No rest. No help. While they argued and ran, he had built. Inside the fortress were weapons made from jungle bones. Food hung to dry, and water collected in carved fruit shells. There was even a small trapdoor escape tunnel woven through vines. One cadet reached for the ladder. "Don't." The voice stopped them cold. Callan stood at the edge of the platform, looking down. Shirt off, arms cut and bruised, eyes sharp. "Don't touch anything unless you plan to help." The cadets hesitated. Some ran, but 3 stayed. A click, a score, and a soft-spoken Draxian with shaking hands. Double quotes. We can help. Please." Callan said nothing. He looked at them for a long second, then tossed down a coil of vine rope. Pull your weight, or get eaten. Above, something moved in the trees. The monster was still hunting, but now there was a fortress it couldn't reach. A human who wasn't afraid. And cadets who finally understood. This wasn't just survival, it was war, and the human was already winning. The fortress creaked in the wind, but it stood strong. Inside, Callan sharpened a bone spear by firelight. The 3 alien cadets he'd allowed in sat silently, eyes darting to every sound. Outside, the jungle groaned, angry, restless, alive. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the trees, not from a predator, not from nature. A challenge. The apex beast had returned, bigger, faster, smarter. It had learned from last night's pain. Callan stood. It's testing us, he said flatly. Tonight, it's coming through the walls. Down below, cadets were still scattered in the jungle, many wounded, some without weapons. A click cadet limped into view beneath the fortress, calling up, "Please, let us in." Callan didn't answer. The cadet collapsed, shaking. "It's killing us one by one. We're not ready for this." Callan dropped a rope ladder without a word. One more life added to the risk. Inside, the others looked at him. "You're just going to let anyone in now?" asked the score. "No," Callan said, staring down through the trap door. From now on, they work for it. He gave the new cadet 1 hour. 1 hour to bring supplies, set traps, scout enemy movement, help us build. Or stay outside. That was the ultimatum. No freeloaders. No passengers. This wasn't a school test anymore. This was survival. Human-style. Up in the command center, orbiting above the planet, the instructors watched in silence. This wasn't the plan. The human wasn't supposed to lead. He was supposed to fail, but down in the trees, something had shifted. The alien cadets were no longer commanders, soldiers, or elites. They were just scared kids. And the human? He had become something else. Something the jungle respected. Night fell like a hammer. The jungle went dead silent. No insects, no wind. Just heat, thick and heavy, pressing against the fortress like a warning. Then the roar returned. Louder, closer. The apex predator charged from the trees like a missile. 8 limbs. Black scales, eyes that reflected firelight. Its claws tore through vines and steel like bark. It wasn't hunting now, it was attacking. Inside the fortress, Callan shouted, "Positions!" The cadets scrambled, clicks on the lookout, Draxians at the traps, score manning makeshift spears. Everyone had a job. No one was safe. The beast hit the wall boom, sending splinters flying. One cadet screamed, another fell. Blood hit the wooden floor. Callan didn't flinch. He triggered the first trap, a falling net of sharp thorns. The creature thrashed, roaring, but broke free. Smoke bombs followed, then spikes from the floor. Then fire. Nothing stopped it. It tore through the outer wall. "Fall back," Callan yelled. He grabbed 2 wounded cadets, dragging them up the rope tunnel to the 2nd level. The monster reached the lower platform and exploded into flame. The backup oil trap worked. The beast screamed, fire covering its back, clawing at the supports. Fortress shook, cracked. The cadets clung to ropes, screamed, cried. The clique commander froze in fear. The score dropped her spear. Only Callan stood tall, eyes locked on the burning nightmare. He leapt. Mid-air. He drove a bone spear straight into the beast's eye. It collapsed, screeching, twitching, and finally went still. The fortress groaned, half broken. But it held. Barely. The fire burned low. Silence returned. Then the clique whispered, voice trembling, "We'd all be dead without him." Callan looked at the jungle, then back at the cadets. "We're not done yet," he said. "Something worse is watching." Above the jungle, in orbit, the Galactic Command Center was in chaos. Screens showed the fire-lit fortress. Smoke, blood, burned trees. One beast down, but dozens of cadets dead or missing. And in the middle of it all, a human. Standing tall, Admiral Korvik slammed his fist on the table. This was a controlled test. A simulation. Who authorized real threats? No one, whispered a technician. The jungle mutated. Something's wrong down there. Another officer pointed to the footage. That human, he's not enhanced. He has no implants, no exosuit. But he's leading them. The room went silent. Across the galaxy, restricted feeds were already leaking. Millions were watching. Human outsmarts 12 elite species. Human kills apex predator. Human builds fortress in one night. Back in the jungle, the cadets were repairing walls, sharpening weapons, following orders. Callan didn't rest. He barely spoke. That's when the gas hit. A silent mist spread through the jungle, sweet-smelling and invisible. A surprise resilience modifier, ordered by someone high up. It would knock out even the strongest species in seconds. Another test, another curveball. Within minutes, cadets dropped where they stood, choking, eyes rolling back. Callan didn't. He pulled a mask over his face already. Prepared. He dragged the others inside, locked doors, blocked vents. In less than 5 minutes, his fortress became airtight. From orbit, someone cursed. How the hell did he know? He didn't, said one officer, watching the footage. He guessed. And he guessed right. Now the whispers started among the brass. What if humans aren't behind? What if there's something else entirely? On the planet below, Callan looked up at the stars. He knew they were watching now. Good. Let them. The dropships came at dawn. Black shadows streaked across the burning sky, engines screaming as they pierced the smoke. The jungle below was scarred half of it on fire, the rest soaked in blood and ash. Extraction orders had been sent. Mission terminated. Cadets staggered into the open, eyes hollow, uniforms shredded. 17 survivors out of 50, most limping. Some silent, others crying. The ramps dropped. Armed recovery teams rushed out, then froze, because stepping out of the trees, carrying 2 unconscious cadets across his shoulders, was Callan, covered in dirt, wrapped in vines, a bloodied spear in one hand. He didn't ask for help. He just walked past them. A command officer tried to stop him. Wait! Identify. Callan dropped the injured cadets gently on the ramp, then turned. Callan, human. Cadet 49. Extraction complete. The officer blinked. You led the defense? No, Callan said. I survived, that's all. But everyone on the field knew the truth. He hadn't just survived, he'd led, built, fought, and one dot behind him, alien cadets looked at him with something close to worship. Or fear. From orbit, Admiral Korvik watched the feed. That fortress, he whispered. He built it with sticks and instinct. A quiet voice in the room responded. Imagine what he'd do with resources. Galactic protocols updated that day. Humans were reclassified, not just adaptable, not just resilient, strategically dangerous. Back on the ship, Callan sat alone. A click cadet walked over, still trembling. Why didn't you run like the rest of us? Callan looked out the window. At the jungle one last time. I stopped running years ago. The door sealed behind him. And somewhere deep in the stars, recruitment offices lit up. The footage went viral across 50 systems in one solar day. Clips of the fortress, the fire, the monster, and the human bloodied, silent, walking out of hell with 2 cadets on his back. News headlines exploded. Human outlasts elite alien cadets. The jungle chose him. Galactic military rewrites survival protocols after HFY incident. Some were amazed, some were afraid. A few whispered the truth behind closed doors. We never really understood humans, did we? At the Galactic Academy, instructors rewrote the syllabus. Jungle warfare, case study, Cadet 49. Other species began requesting human partners during simulations. Just give me someone like Callan, they said. Recruitment centers on. Earth overflowed. Kids who grew up with nothing now believed they could join something bigger. After all, Callan had no upgrades, no power armor, no perfect genes, just grit, instinct, and the will to survive. Back on Earth, Callan walked through a quiet street in civilian clothes. No medals, no parade. Just silence. A news drone hovered. Nearby, Callan, what's next for you? Are you joining Special Forces, starting your own team? He didn't stop walking. I'm going home, he said. To Earth? No, he said. To where no one else will go. Behind him, 3 alien cadets watched from a distance his former squad. They didn't speak. They just nodded. He nodded. Back. In orbit, sealed files were marked. Class 15, Death World Adaptation Theory, red stamped, restricted. One line stood out. If this is what a human does with sticks, we better pray they never organize. The jungle had tested him. The galaxy had witnessed him. Now the stars would remember him.